Hey guys, welcome to the Q&A live stream for day one. Today we are going to be talking about something that's so fucking foundational and fundamental that it even slipped my mind this year. And just to get straight to the point, that's your body of work. So I don't know if it's just me, but probably not. But when you go through something really big, you tend to change your beliefs. You tend to have all these different epiphanies and life lessons, which, at least for me, really changed the way that I thought about my business. It changed how I perceived the results that I was helping people get. It changed the results that I was prioritizing in my own business and life. And really, for me, I would say it just created this whole different lens or perspective about what was actually fucking important in my business and in my life. And it gave me so much insight as to how I was running my business before, essentially like using my business to validate myself, to be my identity, to prop me up. And what that meant was that whenever my business wasn't doing well, I was a mess. Like, I was so intertwined and codependent with my business, it just wasn't good. Okay, so anyway, the point of this whole video is that I'm gonna guess, because it's 2020, you guys have gone through some really big shifts this year. And maybe you've been doing some deeper work on yourself. And maybe even you've had all this new expertise and knowledge that you're really into. You can't shut up about it. You're super excited about it. Hi, Evelina. I see who's watching. So if you hop on, or even if you hop on after, be commenting, because this is going to be more of an interactive live stream. And I'm going to be helping you guys put your pieces together as well. And the purpose of even teaching this is that when I recovered from my illness, that was my big event. I was really excited and passionate about self-healing for myself and my personal life, but I had no idea how the fuck this stuff really integrated with the stuff I was already doing, high ticket sales and marketing. So I was trying to push and sell programs about high ticket sales and marketing, but something really felt wrong to me and off. It felt incomplete. And I kind of, looking back on it, I couldn't articulate this then, but it kind of felt like I was not being in integrity, because I actually knew, like, whoa, I'm not quite sure how, but this stuff that I've been doing for myself is so important. And I just had this deep feeling like I have to teach this, because I know that this is what actually matters for people to get results in their businesses. And I was seeing how other coaches were just giving up on the industry altogether. And they were, going back to their 9-to-5s, or maybe they were doing what I had done, which is switch my niche 15 fucking times. And I was going through this business midlife crisis. If you've ever done that, raise your hand. We all have done it. I swear to God, I was gonna be a divine feminine business coach for a second. That's how bad it was. And another piece of what made it really hard for me to bring the two together was I was really blaming and projecting a lot onto my business. I had really burned out. I had really kind of lost myself in the industry. And so I was like, well, all that old stuff, high ticket sales, marketing, that's not me. I don't want to do it anymore. It's not fun anymore. So maybe I just need to change my niche. And no matter how many times I changed my niche or how many pauses I took, it still didn't feel good. And I just had never seen a coach or anyone who had talked about this. And it's so fucking fundamental. I'm actually going to show you guys a little graphic that I made. Yes, on Canva. Check this out, right? It's what we all really think a business is. It's first, all the stuff that you teach, right? Then you have an offer. Then you talk about it. Then you sell it. Then you make some money. But this is what most of us are doing. It's I need money, so I need to sell stuff. And then I'm going to post about it daily, because if I don't, people will forget about me. Then I guess I should make up a program. Then I'll think about what I'm going to teach in the program. So do you see how it's actually gone completely ass backwards? And that's what I was doing. And another piece of that, and I think another reason why this happens, is because we're not feeling safe. And especially with what happened in 2020, a lot of us are not feeling safe, on top of maybe core traumas from childhood or stuff that happened to you in adulthood that is already influencing you and your nervous system to be in that fight or flight mode. And so sometimes when we're so like concerned with trying to create safety for ourselves, it doesn't automatically occur to us like, oh, maybe I should like check out the foundation of this house and see what's happening. Does that still stand, or do I need to build more of the foundation? Because that is really why we even built businesses, right? Like we all began on a journey that we went through, and we gained some knowledge, and we had this transformation, and then we're like, man, maybe I should teach that to someone. So let me whip out my next diagram. This is Christy's journey. I wonder if this is backwards. Evelina, is this backwards on the screen? I don't know, but I'll just dictate it. In 2015, I was on my fitness journey, okay? And I was learning how to get fit. And I was really into it, and I was kind of sharing about it online. So I gained experience. And then I was like, man, people really want my help. So I'm gonna be a fitness coach. And that was 2016. So I began this fitness coaching business, and then I decided I was going to help people like go on a business journey, because I had just been on. I had learned all these things about how to build a business, and I really wanted to share it because I was really passionate about it, and I felt deep inside like this is what I'm really meant to be doing, even though I like wasn't exactly sure how I was going to teach it or anything like that. It was more of a knowing. And so maybe you guys even feel that for yourselves right now. Don't know. But that was 2017 to 18. And so this is where it gets really interesting, right? Because built this business, and then I began a healing journey. And healing, I was healing physical illness. I was healing from emotional trauma, which I didn't really call it that then. It was just like, stuff hurts in here and it's affecting my life and my work, so I need to figure out what that is. That was essentially like how this started. And I was trying to build a business at the same time. So that was 2019. So this is where all this new experience and wisdom came in for me, although I wasn't really seeing it as that. And honestly, I wasn't seeing it as that even in the beginning of this year, because in the beginning of this year, I was like, I'm really passionate about that. And I sense that it fits in to the stuff that I'm doing, but I don't know how. And so until then, I'm just going to keep trying to sell this stuff I've always done. And, didn't go well, because every time I would try to sell it, I just like wanted to run away. It didn't feel good. And so that's why I called this part of the work that we're doing the foundation, because even if it's subconscious and you don't understand what's going on, there's gonna be this resistance to showing up in your business at all. And Evelina, I'm not sure like where you're at with your business, but maybe it's like you're wanting to restart it, because I think I saw that you're working now. So maybe you want to restart it, but it still feels weird. And so a piece of this could be that you just take stock of like all of the different things that you've learned and all the experience that you've had and all of the results you've helped people create or yourself. And just, this is what we're going to do later on, but list them out so you can already start thinking about that. And then begin to like look at them. Honestly, I can't say that there's a specific process for doing this, but looking at them and allowing the space and time for your brain to make the connections. And to give you guys perspective, this process for me probably took at least like 2 months, if not 3. So it's not something we can exactly like do on one live stream, but it's something that we can at least begin. And really my purpose in sharing this with you guys is so that there's like a nugget of hope, of motivation, of inspiration that, whoa, like maybe my business could feel good again. Maybe I could be lit up about my work again. And what I've actually found is that when I'm really connected to my work and I'm clear on, wow, that's how this is going to help somebody really change their life. And I'm so passionate now because I brought in the stuff I really care about and I just can't stop talking about it. All of a sudden, the messaging takes care of itself. I never think anymore, oh God, I have to post every day because my audience might forget about me while I'm figuring out what the fuck's going on with my life. So like a lot of the problem solving that you guys might be feeling, because it definitely was there for a long time, of like, maybe I need to do a course. Maybe I need to learn more Instagram. Oh, the flies are back, you guys. I killed so many of them. I made traps. Such a problem. Where was I? Elena says I'm back at 9 to 5 because I'm tired of the marketing and the whole thing about personal development. Yeah, I know so many, but at some point I just got clients and I have them to this day. So I was really in this place for a long time too, Elena, where I was like, fuck that stuff, fuck that industry. And it was, what it really was, is, you know how we were talking about yesterday, the fight response. It's like, well, let me push you away because you hurt me, so I'm not giving you the time of day. But in reality, like, the marketing and the personal development stuff, like, that's neutral, right? I mean, it's not actually a mean person yelling at you. It's just, that was an experience, and we created like stories which are attached to emotions and feelings about the thing. So if we can just like get curious, that was my other thing, is I want to allow you guys to just set an intention right now. Like, what if I'm just curious and I'm open about how I could create a different reality with my business, one in which it feels good, one in which I'm really clear about what I want to talk about and why it's important to me and why it matters, one in which I create my own reality about how the industry does or does not influence how I feel or what I'm doing. And that was hard for me. I know, like, I'm saying that and you guys are probably like, ugh, I'm tired of it though. And I get that. I just think that, well, if you're here listening to this live stream, you probably know and feel deep down like you can't really give up on it because, well, you're here, you're interested. There's a part of you that's like, well, I want to know if that's even possible. And it all really started with this, because when I was really clear about, well, self-healing and the stuff that I've learned about trauma and how the body and the mind physically respond when we feel unsafe and how that plays into all these experiences when we're building our businesses, that was like a light bulb for me, and really the deeper why behind why I'm teaching it, even though I definitely had a lot of thoughts about like, who the fuck will buy this? People are gonna get scared if I talk about trauma, and then maybe it's not sexy. I'm gonna actually go into a few common fears and hesitations people might have about teaching this deeper kind of stuff later, because it's tied into a lot of the coaching industry paradigms we've been talking about. But I just knew, like, when I was in my dark, shitty place back in like mid 2019, and I was like, I don't know why I keep hitting this glass wall. I spent $7,000 a month on a course or on a mentor. I keep trying to launch and do all these things. None of it's working, and I have a feeling that it's about something deeper, and I wish that there was a mentor or somebody that like had been down this path that could help me. And I did eventually find somebody who was talking about how trauma impacts sales, but a lot of it was my own internal exploration and like learning, and that wasn't something that I could do in a month or in a 4-month program with a coach. It took a lot of time. And so that's interesting because it brings me back to my new expertise. Like, how did my perceptions of the work that I do change based off of my lessons and the things that I'd been through? So one of the lessons I had been sharing like 2 weeks ago, I was sharing some life lessons I had really integrated this year, was about timelines. And when you're not safe, like your nervous system's in fight or flight mode and you really don't feel safe, and all of your trauma is being triggered by the business, by the pandemic, by the election, all of the things, by your relationships, by finances. Where was I going with this? I have period brain, so you guys have to hang with me because sometimes it blanks out. I don't know. If anyone remembers what I was saying, please remind me, but I'll read Evelina's comments in the meantime. My life is good, but I know it's not sustainable. I wonder if you mean it's not sustainable in the sense of like, it's just that there's a call, like the calling is still there inside of you, because that's definitely what I felt. Where I was like, I'm mad at the coaching industry and I'm sad And I'm mad and I'm sad at myself for losing myself. There was a lot of self-blame and guilt and shame, which really made things hard, because it's very hard to get clear about work that really excites you, and get really excited about teaching it if you have the emotions of self-blame, guilt, and shame there. I was talking about timelines. I realized that when I do work with clients in the future, and myself, when I'm working on something, there's so much value in having more time. Because as I said about really defining what your body of work is and how your new stuff, your new lessons, your new expertise ties in with the old, that took me 2 to 3 months for it to really come together. And it took me listing out my new lessons, all the stuff I knew about self-healing and trauma, and really just journaling and exploring, and then creating space and time to just think nothing. That's when the little light bulbs came together, and I was like, whoa, I see how trauma ties in with business because of this. I see how, all the things happened. So it takes time, and that became one of my life lessons that changed the way that I build my offers. So right now with the mastermind I'm going to be selling after this and inviting you guys to, it's 9 months. 9 months. I've never created anything that long because I did not see the value of time. I was in a fight or flight, not safe mode. So I was like, gotta sell the next thing, gotta get to $1 million lifestyle tomorrow so that people think I'm successful and they wanna buy from me forever, and then I will be safe, right? So that's an example of how newer lessons might fit in with the work that you're already doing. So if you've joined, say hello. This is gonna be an interactive live stream, like I said, and you guys can already start sharing. I think we should get into it. What are some of the new lessons or new work that you've been studying, new topics, new passions that you really feel deeply are actually super important for somebody to get results in your industry, whatever it might be, whether it's healing or fitness or business or personal development, things that you have experienced yourself this year in this pause, in this shitstorm of 2020, that you really want to be sharing and teaching, but you're like, I don't know how it fits in, I'm just confused. And so maybe you're not doing nothing, just not showing up. Because there got to a point for me where I was like, if I'm not clear, I just don't even want to post. I'm not going to make myself feel bad. So let me give you guys a second, and in the comments, what is the new stuff that you're super passionate about, that you really believe people need? And even just stating it or typing it out loud somewhere is a step, because it's going to start opening up permission emotionally for you to explore this, which can be hard, right? Because if you've had a bad experience in the industry, or just life has been not easy lately, it feels a lot safer to just be like, I don't know, I'm gonna go watch Netflix. I'm gonna watch Emily in Paris and just pretend that this year did not happen. But that's not why we do this. It's not why you're here watching this live stream. It's because you really do care. You really do have something deeper that you want to share with people. So let me go ahead and read what Evelina said. And again, if you're watching, what are the new lessons and epiphanies and passions or expertise that you've been gaining this year that you want to add in to your current expertise? Evelina says, I'm exploring how I can create a different life for myself. I want a business, but I'm not even sure if it's in personal development or healing, although I love the intuitive sessions that I'm leading. Okay, so explore that a bit deeper. What about these intuitive sessions that you're leading do you really love? So this is how you guys can use questioning to keep going deeper, keep pulling out little golden nuggets about, well, what is it that I love? What is it that feels really good? And when you're really focused on being annoyed at the marketing tactics and the industry and things that don't feel good, which, no blame, we've all been there this year, because there's a lot of bad stuff that's constantly being projected in the media, and just on your feed, everywhere. And so we really have to take ownership of like, okay, let's focus on what is good. Let's focus on what feels really nice and what is exciting and brings that little like light bulb of joy into your heart. That will bring you to these more like clear insights about the work that you want to be doing. So let me see some more in the comments. What are you passionate about? Don't overthink it. Whatever's coming up, post it. Okay. And yeah, I think while you guys are doing that, I'll share a little bit more about how my stuff came together, because I think that will help you too. I know when I hear somebody explain their story about how they did something, little light bulbs also go off in my mind. So the way that my journey kind of unfolded is I showed you guys that book. Where did I put it? Yesterday. My intuition kept leading me to different resources. Like first it led me to some coach who I saw talk about trauma and sales, and I was like, oh, I wonder if that's a thing. I watched a few live streams. I didn't really do that much with her, but I like peeped at one of her courses, like one module. But that was enough to lead me to this author. Then I learned about the inner child, and I was like, what's an inner child? I would like to know, like, who is this little girl inside me that maybe is still hurting? And that was the first concept that really made me realize that, hey, maybe some things from my past or experiences I had are affecting how I show up in business, are affecting like the way that I feel. That led me to learning more about like the psychology behind trauma. And if I had tried to do this work, like, I don't know, even 4 months before I had come across it, I would have been like, nah, I'm over here earning money. I'm over here launching. I don't have time for that trauma shit. I don't have trauma. And it was more just like, you have to be ready, and you have to, I think, sometimes hit your rock bottom to really be open to the answers. And you also have to give up like your pride and your ego, because you're not going to find the answers you're looking for when you're still being protective and you're still being shut off. And this is also something I wanted to say in this live stream, is that I understand that a lot of the things that I'm asking you are confronting and vulnerable, and sharing about the things that you're feeling or experiencing around the industry can be really hard, because then what that would mean is I don't feel good, I am struggling, or I feel unsure. And this leads me to another paradigm of the coaching industry, which is like this idea. I'm not sure where this started, but this idea that like if we're not thriving and successful, then nobody will want to buy from us. And like that was a really big thing that held me back from sharing this deeper work that I knew was really important, because naturally when you're talking about trauma, you gotta, like, it insinuates that some stuff happened to you that wasn't good. And for so long I had really protected myself, and I picked this up from my dad, like, you don't like talk about your feelings, you don't talk about struggling, because then you're weak, right? And like I was very protective of myself because I did not feel that I was worthy inside. Like what had really driven me for a lot of my life was this feeling of being flawed or not enough. And that was really what had built my business, because I was constantly trying to prove that I was enough through the doing, the working, the hustling. And it really hurt me in the end. Like I had an autoimmune illness for a year and I couldn't work for 6 months. So my ego got demolished. And it was a gift, because it stripped away all of these masks that I had been wearing as an identity, as a front for like earning money, for my worthiness, for my joy and satisfaction in life, because I didn't feel that who I was inside was enough. And so when I say, you guys have probably heard me use this phrase, like over time it runs out. Building a business on your trauma runs out. Like hustling and overworking runs out. I kind of feel it's because over time, like the pain of denying who you are and what you need becomes so great, especially as you become more and more self-aware. and you do personal development work or read books or have time and space of a whole year being in a pandemic at home to think about yourself, you just realize like, whoa, there's stuff hurting in here and I can't go back. Like I cannot go back to the pushing and the forcing. There's got to be a better way. So that was really my wake-up call. Like there's got to be a better way, but I just don't know what it is. And it is also possible if you're watching this that like maybe you're just at the point where you're like, all I know is there's got to be a better way, and I know I need to go explore that. I'm not quite sure what my new lessons or expertise really are. And that's okay too, because that's a good place to just start. To just be like, okay, that's great information. I'm going to go explore that now. Like what is your, well, you're here, right? So you're exploring and gaining new expertise, knowledge around a topic that eventually you may become very passionate about. And that's part of my mission too, is I would really love to help other coaches, other leaders, other teachers learn more about trauma so that they can pass that on to their clients and they can show up better and healthier and happier as coaches. Okay, let me read some comments. Gita, I've been doing inner child healing this year and breath work. Oh my God. Yes, I shared that in the last live stream as well. Yes, I'm drinking water from a beer glass. Breathwork was a huge part of what really helped me release so much of the stored trauma, stress, and anxiety in my body. And also doing inner child like journaling, like communicating with my inner child. So I wonder, Gita, if that's something that would you be passionate and excited to share it with other people? Does it really light you up to like learn more about that, to tell your friends about it and like hope that they do it? That has always been the signal to me that is something I'm meant to be sharing and teaching, is when I want to like tell everyone in the world about it and I'm not even thinking about my business. So that can also be a guide for anyone watching. What is the stuff that you're really passionate and excited about talking about right now, to anyone who will listen to you, that maybe you don't quite feel comfortable yet sharing online? You're struggling, Welina, with corporate versus your healings. I'm very ambitious and the idea of succeeding in corporate is appealing, but I know it's not sustainable. It tires me out a lot and I need more freedom. Interesting. I wonder if maybe part of what your work right now, Welina, is to learn how to apply your own healings and your own new knowledge and expertise, and probably the stuff you're going to be gaining over the next few months, to yourself, to learn how to create more freedom exactly where you are, so that you can have a corporate career that you like are enjoying because you get to grow it and you're ambitious about it. And I wonder if maybe one day you're meant to help other corporate women do the same. Are you mind blown? One of my gifts is I'm really good at helping people piece together all these little pieces of information to see a potential path or future for them. And isn't that interesting that like being in that corporate space or helping corporate women really doesn't have anything to do with the whole 10K month coaching industry thing, right? So who says that you have to be a part of the Facebook world if you don't want to? Although I will say that like for the longest time I was like, I don't want a group. That's just so much work, and like for what? You know, I was really kind of burnt out and tired by it. And I even said to my coach before I started doing all this mini course, like, I'm not going to do live streams. And then here we are, and I'm doing one every single day. And what this goes back to, I feel, is like when you're so passionate and connected to your work and what you want to teach, you don't really think about those same pieces of resistance that you used to. You're not like, oh, why do I feel like I have to post every day? Why do I like hate Facebook groups so much? Why am I so triggered by everybody's content? I don't think these things anymore because what I'm so focused on is my body of work. And that's where I want to help you guys get to, because there's a lot of stuff going on in the world. And when you're so like lasered in and focused and excited about the work you're doing, the rest kind of takes care of itself. So Gita, what are you doing these days? Are you still doing art, Or are you helping people with breath work and trauma release? Yeah, the trauma work is so important. So I think I can also talk more about like overcoming my fears around sharing more about trauma. Well, those fears kind of went away when I started seeing how they came together. Because just talking about trauma alone and self-healing alone, like that was good. And I started out that way in the beginning of this year because that's what I knew and that's what I was excited about. But as they came together, I was like, oh, I totally see how women who have really been struggling in the coaching industry, who are very triggered by it, who've experienced these different things, they don't need another mastermind that's going to teach them a system and have them be just like use the marketing paradigm of be like us and then you will make all of the money and the clients will come to you. So my target audience was like these women who had been really burned out by the coaching industry, who were really tired and sad because they weren't understanding like, why is this happening to me despite the money I've invested, besides all the affirmations and the journaling I've been doing. And a lot of these women like had already had a lot of success in their businesses, had already earned a lot of money. And then this was happening. Some of them just never got off, and like they had probably had more trauma than these other coaches starting out. That was more like closer to the surface, so to speak. And so they were really triggered almost immediately when they came into the industry and were not able to like continue building their businesses. But either way, I knew that this group of women I don't even know what the fuck I'm trying to say right now. Were where I was at. This is the period brain, you guys. Okay, so when I started to think about that person who really was me a year prior, I started really feeling like my little heart light bulb going off, and I was like, wow, what if I created something for myself that I had needed? I had needed somebody to give me the language to describe what I was going through, because there were no people talking about trauma in the coaching industry. None of them are talking about how it shows up in business. And so like based on my experience and talking to my clients and my friends and acquaintances, I know that there are hundreds and thousands of women and also men who are in that place of like, why can't I do this? Like, it's so easy. I know what to do. And that for me was like a very heartbreaking moment, and I just didn't want anybody else to feel like that. And so I started putting together what I saw was the journey that I needed, which included the lesson of time, like a longer program. And it also included like things that I realized I needed about my business. Like, I do not want to have to launch every single month, right? And that was a manifestation of a trauma of like really being taught early on that if you don't like constantly perform, work hard, you don't get love and attention or approval. And so I'd actually set the structure of my business up to re-traumatize myself over and over and over and over every single month. I just didn't know that because that is the model that we see in the coaching industry. There isn't anyone talking about creating a business structure that's designed to help you feel safe and to earn. So that became another piece of what I realized I really want to teach people. That also required that I learn how to do that. And I did not know how. So I hired a coach. And that was also a big step for me too, because I had trust issues, you guys. I had trust issues with hiring coaches. And another thing is that I realized with my new knowledge about trauma that sometimes charging high ticket prices is incredibly traumatizing to the wrong type of client. It had been traumatizing for me back when I did it in 2019. It wasn't as traumatizing the earlier times I did it, but in that moment it was. And I realized, wow, here's another piece of what I want to teach people. Here's how trauma and business come together. I realized that when I'm pricing something, I cannot just blanket high ticket or nothing, high ticket or low ticket, because that completely leaves the client out of the equation, right? Like, what about the person who still needs a lot of support, who still wants to be in a safe space and learn, but for whom like buying something that's high ticket would be either incredibly triggering and create a lot of like feelings of unsafety and anxiety that would actually prevent them from being able to create the results they want to create. And then also if like for this specific client that I had in mind for this mastermind coming up, they're not somebody who needs one-on-one like hand-holding all the freaking time. They're fucking smart, driven, ambitious women who just need accountability, momentum, support, leadership, and like connection. So why would I need to charge them a shitload of money? I don't, but I can set it up in a way that is going to like get me the income that I really want, so I feel an integrity with the price, and is also going to be supportive of them. So the mastermind I have coming up is $800 a month, which is not something I've never set up a program to be priced that way. But with the level of coaching that I'm providing and the the trainings, like I feel perfectly in integrity with that. Hold on. Talking so much. Meet the clients where they're at, they say. I suppose that's true. Yes. So if you can imagine like $800 a month times 10 to 20 people, like that's pretty legit, you know? That's a really solid income, and I can launch that 1 to 2, if I feel like it, 3 times a year, and I'm good. Like, I just don't have this like goal, like I need to earn $1 million this year. Like that's not, like that doesn't resonate with my heart. And that's something that really came as a result of doing self-healing work, because I'm like, whoa, all those like things I affirmed in my journal are not mine. What is mine? What is true to me? When I figured out what is true to me, and this is what we're doing in like the first part of the mastermind, is like really just regaining your own voice, regaining your own sovereignty about what do I want? What do I need? What does that look like? From there, you can begin to build a business around that. That's actually you. That's why I called it Fully You, Fully Paid, because I had this epiphany like, holy shit. Evelina, no, I'm not cursing. Holy shit. If I don't feel good in my business, I'm not going to show up in it. And so I don't have to like blame and shame myself. I can just build one that feels good. I can build one that works for me. I can build one based off of what my ideas of success are. And again, this tied back to all my lessons in 2019 where I woke up and I was like, whoa, this is not my version of success. This is not my best way of working. I'm literally so burnt out that an autoimmune illness got triggered and brought me down to literally lying in bed every day, like exhausted after a conversation. I had to like get surgery to get my implants removed because that was like the cause. It was a cause that got triggered by extreme stress when I moved to California. Anyway, that's a different story. But I will say, I think we go through really hard things in life, things that maybe we're ashamed of, that feel like, oh, if anyone knew that happened to me, like they would just think I'm a failure and this means I'm not credible. Literally had that thought so many times. But when we can see them as lessons, when we can see them as I'm actually going through the exact learning program that I need right now for my next body of work, for my next phase in my business. And this is what I heard from God when I was like literally just crying in bed when I was sick. It was like, you're becoming the woman you need to be to do the work you're meant to do. And so what if you saw whatever thing that you've gone through this year or last year, or, you know, this whole year of 2020 in general, what if you saw that as basically like the learning lab for you to gain these new pieces of wisdom and insight that now you get to put into your work, into your program. And really, when we think about it, what is a like personality-based business? Because we've all started that way, right? We had a journey, we gained experience, we decided we wanted to help other people who were a few steps behind us. That's what we do. And so let's not forget that we're evolving human beings that forever, until the end of time, will always keep growing. And you're not wrong if you need to update it. In fact, it's like the thing that's going to allow the work to feel really good and exciting again. And I know a lot of you guys just joined. I showed this in the beginning. I put together these two little graphics, right? Okay, you can't see that. Here we go. Like, this is how we think it really goes, right? Like, we have some teachings, we make an offer, we message about it, we sell it. But this is what a lot of people are doing. Like, oh shit, I need to make, oh God, okay, I need to make money, so I should sell some stuff. So I'm gonna post every day, and then I guess I'll figure out what to offer, and then I guess I'll figure out what I'm teaching, right? It's like backwards. So this is why I called this module in the course the foundation. Because, you know, all the stuff I'm sharing and creating with you guys, it came so much easier just because I had taken the time to put these pieces together. And I'll also say that, you know, it takes time, and it also takes some healing work around really trusting yourself again and listening to your own voice. So a big part of my journey this year was like just learning how to hear myself, which, you know, is some inner child work. Like, that's kind of how I started rebuilding a relationship with myself. And I'm like, sure, let me know if you feel this way in the comments, but I really didn't trust myself after losing myself in the coaching industry. So I was like, how could I have not seen that? How could I have like not understood that I was buying into this whole freaking like scheme? I was projecting a lot onto the industry and my business. When I forgave myself for that, I could actually see more clearly, and I could feel love for my business again. A really profound thing that my mentor invited me into was like, what if you saw your business as a human that you are in a relationship with? And let's imagine you're treating your business in this way, and you're like, well, you just like fucking led me astray, so I'm leaving you on the corner. You get to just sit out there high and dry, see you later. I'm gonna be over here where people don't hurt me. Or, God, why can't you just earn me money? Like, why can't you just like validate me and get me that client? I don't understand, right? It's a very toxic relationship. It's probably very similar to the one you have with yourself. And I've found it to be true. Like, the deeper my relationship with myself becomes, the healthier it becomes, the better the relationship with my business becomes. And what's even more fascinating is that relationship, that initially toxic relationship, often mirrors the toxic relationship from your childhood. Yeah. This is like, you know, how my relationship with my mother went when I was a child. So you can see how the psychology really all comes together. And I began to see my business not as something that had to provide for me or deliver for me or perform for me, but I began to see it as like a child of something I was taking care of. I had created it, I had birthed it. And so why would I beat it up and expect it to do all these things that like it can't do? Like, I have to be able to provide for it. I have to be able to take the quality time and the love and the care to give it the space it needs to grow, or in some cases for you guys, regrow. And that also means letting go of shame. This is, I get very distracted if you guys couldn't tell. This is the EDD. So releasing shame, I think, is so important. And if you're watching, the first step, I think, to releasing shame is knowing like you did the best you could with what you knew at the time. And all of these like perceived levels in the coaching industry, not real at all. And what I actually found to be true, going back to the fear piece of like really sharing the deeper stuff that you really love, is that the more vulnerable and authentic that I became sharing those pieces of my journey, the more people trusted me, you know, and the more people came to me to work with me, even when I wasn't selling anything earlier in the year. like one of my clients came to me out of the blue. She was like, Christy, intuitively, I just felt like you might understand what I'm going through. I'm not sure why. She had actually, like, what I feel happened is in her mind, she had seen some of the stuff that I was posting about self-healing, and it had a certain, like, little light bulb go off for her. And so when she became self-aware enough to realize, like, oh, I think maybe there's something around, like, my worthiness or my attachment to my business that isn't right, I became the person in her mind that popped up. And so even though I wasn't posting anything, she like came along into my DMs. And so I will also say that if you're wondering how all this stuff fits in, just start by sharing a few things that you know, that you've gotten a lot of value from. So Geeta, maybe for you, it's like talking about breath work or talking about like how you do inner child work and how that got connected to your highest month ever. I want to go back and see what you said about the artists. You went all in with artist coaching. There's deeper one-on-one coaching for artists needs for validation, need to be seen but weren't as children. That makes so much sense. Yeah. In some ways, I do feel it's a lot of people in the coaching industry are like that too. Because really what we're doing is we're posting online, and in some ways it is validation. And it's okay because like that lack in childhood actually led us to this really cool, beautiful profession that we're in, where we get to share our life experiences and like our own journeys and growth and healing. The bug is back, and we get to get paid for it. And that's exactly what this phase of business is, even if you feel detached from your business. It's just a time where you get to like collect that information and then, you know, integrate it in and keep going. So I hope that helps you guys. Tomorrow, I'm going to be talking more about, you know, working it into an offer and structurally like what it could look like if we had an offer that was more spaced out, if we had one that was priced in a way that really made sense for the type of people we were working with, and also, you know, provided for us and allowed for the level of income that we want and need to be met without triggering the shit out of our clients. So that's what we're doing tomorrow. And, you know, I would, period brain. I will say that the next step for you guys would be just doing the journaling. Keep writing out what are the new things I've been learning. Like, where am I at in life right now? What are the lessons, the deep lessons that maybe have nothing to do with business or work that I've learned this year? How have my beliefs about what people really need to get results changed or shifted? And then write out all of the things that you already know you're good at or that people know you for. And anything else that comes up. Then just go do something else and create the time. There it is again. And the space, maybe go paint something. I'm going to do that later. That's when the ahas usually happen. And again, remember, it's just a beginning. Like, this is just an opening for you to really fall in love with your work again. And it may take some months and time for it really to come together and be put into a program. But my intention with sharing this and then, you know, putting it into an offer tomorrow is not for you to do it in a day. That's like not realistic. But it's more so to open ideas. And if you want, you can do it with me in the mastermind. But again, I've created this mini course for you to do it completely on your own if you want to. And that's really a commitment that I made to myself. Honestly, even before this whole journey was like, I really never want to even do something for free if I wouldn't find value in it myself, because, well, one, it's going to be useless. No one's going to watch it. And two, that's not what lights up my heart. It's when I really see people shift and, you know, have huge epiphanies and change their lives because of the things I share. And so again, if you're feeling disconnected from business, that is something to reconnect with too. So here's a bonus assignment. Take one of those newer pieces of your passion or your expertise that you've really been learning and using for yourself this year and share it online in a post, wherever you feel called to. And that likely will really help you feel excited again. Because I know that a big part for me of falling back in love with my business was just like interacting, was sharing and helping people again, because I had forgotten what that was like. So I was sick for 6 months. And I had just hadn't had that like joyful feeling of coaching and helping people. So that I think will be really, really exciting for you guys. And excitement, joy, whatever feels good is what we need to follow if we're going to create a business that feels fully good, so we can show up in it and have momentum in it and get fully paid. I know, it's so simple. It just might work. All right, guys. So even if you're watching this in the replay later, feel free to leave your answers to my questions, the journaling questions, in the comments, and I will comment back and give you a few ideas about how it all ties in together, get you inspired and excited. And tomorrow morning in your inbox, you'll get the day 2 module, which will be putting these things into an offer, creating a home and a structure for this work that you're really passionate about and excited about, so that you can begin to see how it might come to life physically in the external world instead of just your head and your heart. That's the next step to making our business feel more real and exciting again, is creating that structure and creating a plan for yourself for 2021. So that's it. Hope you guys had a really wonderful day, and I'll see you guys not tomorrow, but the next day, because that's when we'll do Q&A for day 2. So see you then. You're welcome, Yolina. Bye, guys.